بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ومولانا محمد إمام المجاهدين وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه وذريته أجمعين. اللهم ربنا أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم أرنا حقائق الأشياء كما هي. ربنا زدنا علما وعملا وأخلاقا يا رب العالمين. اللهم انصر أولياءك في مشارق الأرض ومغاربها. اللهم انصرهم على عدوك وعدوهم إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم ألف بين قلوبهم وأصلح ذات بينهم. اللهم سدد رميهم وسدد خطاهم وسدد رأيهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم فرج عنا وعن إخواننا في مشارق الأرض ومغاربها. اللهم نفس كربنا وكربهم وثبت أقدامنا وأقدامهم والطف بنا وبهم يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين. وصل وسلم على سيدنا ومولانا وحبيبنا وشفينا وطبيب قلوبنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه وذريته أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. Okay, so we have some questions, comments. I need to address those and respond to them, and inshallah I'll be responding to the first comment or the question about this journal and its name, Islami Inqilab, which mean Islamic Revolution. Islami Inqilab, which mean Islamic Revolution. So the question is about revolution, the concept of revolution in Islam. Concept of revolution. Revolution in Islam. In fact, the editorial addresses that question to a certain extent, and the next issue actually will have a number of articles on revolution and Islamic revolution, both in Urdu and English. So, but I'm going to just try to respond to the question as briefly as possible. Okay, let's go. Bismillah. So this is a question from a brother. I know of him but don't know much about him, and I had some brief exchange of messages with him. I think he's based in America. I don't know much about him. I don't know much of him either. I mean, just know his name, and that probably is of Pakistani origin, and he lives in America. But anyway, so that's his question. And because the question is in English, I'm going to respond to it in English, even though the context of the question is mostly subcontinent. So it starts with a comment. This is a very provocative name for a journal, maybe for an academic journal, but this is not meant to be an academic journal, even though there would be articles which are in the journal which are of academic nature, but this journal nothing to do with academia. It's based in the context of Islamic movement and Islamic parties and Islamic work. So that's this context. It's not I'm sure that the creators of the journal wanted it not to be provocative, but that's the one of the main theme of the journal, because the journal is established in the context. Those people who have established the journal and running the journal, Many of them belong to Jamaat Islami, which was established as an Islamic Revolutionary Party. There's no doubt about that. And um, people around the general, some of them also belong to other Islamic party like Tanzim Islami, and the parties of and there are a lot of people who are from the religious parties, Masliki parties like Deobandis and Barelvis and Ahl Hadith, and I'm not aware of any Shias, but probably that's one of our shortcomings. That so there's no, as far as I know, there are no Shia brothers among us. Inshallah, there would be, you know, some soon. We will be able to attract our Shia brothers as well. So that's the context. So there's no provocation in that sense, and it addresses our members of Islamic parties and Islamic parties themselves and ulama and the students of madaris. So Islamic parties, we're sort of trying to remind them that they are revolutionary because they have actually Jamaat Islami has abandoned revolutionary path since the establishment of Pakistan, and now they are and for a long time even though their path was fully uh, situated in the constitutional politics of Pakistan. Rhetorically, they still maintain the rhetoric of Islamic revolution, but even now they are even abandoning that rhetoric. So we're just trying to remind them they are Islamic revolution, and we're trying to develop an argument why they shouldn't abandon the Islamic revolution, and why you can't establish Islam, you can't do Iqamat al-Din in the current situation without a revolution. And to ulama, because ulama traditionally have not, except for some groups of Jamiat Ulama Islam, they haven't adopted a revolutionary path. They have been thoroughly reformist since the defeat of 1857 jihad, which was led by ulama. After that, they concluded that revolution is no longer possible, and the second best thing is to. So we are trying to persuade ulama to adopt a revolutionary stance, and also we are generally trying to argue how revolution is organically linked to individual work related to individual purification and social reform and the state level reform. So Islamic revolution is not an antithesis of Islamic reformism or Islamic work related to Tazkiyatun Nufus, but it actually relies on them. And the purpose of Islamic revolution is to make reform at the social and individual level possible. The only thing we argue is that in current situation where capitalism is a dominant civilization or dominant worldview or dominant system, reform on its own cannot hold, be that a reform at the individual level or social level. So that's the thing. Now, so that's about the general. Now, the other question is the Islamic, has there been an Islamic religious precedent using the term Islamic revolution? I was going to address that in the same video, but I have to go, unfortunately. So I'll deal with this part of the question separately, because in a sense it is distinct question, even though it is related to the first comment. So the first was comment on which I give my opinion, and this is the question, so I'm going to briefly address this question in the next session, inshallah. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk, wa salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa sallim wa sallim. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.